If you're considering a new heating and air conditioning system, you might be like most and are focusing on the best brand name and a high efficiency rating. If that's the case, you might want to spend a few minutes reviewing this article from The News, the most recognized HVAC publication in North America. This article outlines how a proper installation from a quality contractor is far more beneficial than simply focusing on the equipment. In fact, improper new installations are becoming so frequent, many homeowners are forcing contractors to fix their problems through lawsuits, which is something no one wants. This article provides information on how you can avoid this situation and actually receive the comfort and efficiency you paid for. Lawsuits and lax standards are exposing cracks in the HVAC industry. Recently, the Department of Energy conducted a study that found that 70 to 90% of newly installed residential HVAC systems were installed with significant detectable faults. That's 70 to 90% of HVAC systems that weren't operating at their fullest potential. Many of them still aren't. And people are catching on. There's been a recent uptick in scrutiny around HVAC installations, and lawsuits are beginning to play a major role. Homeowners want justice, and rightfully so. After all, with all the recent advancements in standards, training, equipment, not to mention software that gives contractors the ability to monitor HVAC system performance remotely, why and how are some HVAC contractors still not getting it right? The answer is, likely, they aren't following today's HVAC standards or compliances. An assumption that every contractor is reputable and does a good job is where many homeowners may get in trouble. Regardless of a contractor's size, rating status, amount of installations completed, or time in business, unless the key installation points in this article are followed, the risk of an improper installation is high. In fact, many homeowners award a 5-star review to a contractor based on their installation experience, only to find out a few years later that things could have and should have been done better. In fact, premature failure of new equipment is happening much too frequently, causing many homeowners to seek legal advice. Not to mention the hundreds of dollars in utility cost paid to operate improperly installed systems. Homeowners are finding out that just because their HVAC system satisfies their thermostat setting doesn't mean their system is reliable and efficient. Why are these lawsuits emerging? Nate Adams, founder of Nate the House Whisperer, a nationally recognized expert on residential HVAC, isn't surprised. In fact, he's been anticipating these legal actions for years. Nate says, in 2019, furnaces moved from older-style PSC to ECM or X13 motors, also referred to as variable speed motors, so they got significantly more sensitive to static pressure, he said. I've been hearing of significant callback and failure rates on new installs, so this seemed like a likely outcome. Efficiency of new HVAC systems have increased through technology. However, many contractors struggle with designing the total system correctly. Equipment deficiencies normally stem from connecting to a poorly designed duct system. Although probably much less efficient, an older duct system commonly functioned at an acceptable level when using the older-style indoor blower motors. However, when the new high-efficient indoor motors listed above are connected, that's where things can go bad for the homeowner. Sadly, problems created are rarely the fault of the equipment or the manufacturer. In most cases, these problems stem from the installing contractor not knowing how to correct these issues. Some may know, but simply cut corners and do not make the ductwork modifications needed to prevent these failures. Wes Davis, Director of Technical Services at the Air Conditioning Contractors of America, says following proven standards is the answer. Wes Davis goes on to say, at ACCA, we see our standards at the foundation for quality, reliable HVAC system design and installation. Our role is to provide HVAC professionals with clear, proven guidance for properly calculating a home's heating and cooling loads, selecting equipment size to meet those loads, and designing a duct system to deliver that conditioned air efficiently and evenly. According to Davis, 3 key ACCA standards in particular work together as the backbone of residential HVAC design. ACCA Manual J provides procedures for accurately calculating a home's heating and cooling loads. ACA Manual S ensures that equipment is selected to meet those calculated loads without excessive oversizing, which can lead to comfort issues, increased energy costs, and moisture problems in some climates. And finally, Manual D provides guidance on sizing the duct system based on the blower's capacity, system components, duct layout, and fittings to maintain proper airflow. Nate Adams adds, training on a few critical items is crucial. Test current static pressure and airflow to understand what the current duct system can handle. Size equipment as small as possible to reduce airflow needs so existing ducts are likely to be sufficient. Offer filters located near equipment to reduce duct pressure. Flow nitrogen while brazing refrigerant lines and pull a deep vacuum to prevent contaminants in those lines. And finally, Wes Davis adds, HVAC professionals take pride in the details, like dialing in the actual system airflow or verifying all the performance elements outlined in the standard. These are the details that matter. Unfortunately, most homeowners don't recognize the complexity involved or the level of expertise required to deliver this caliber of workmanship. Too often, they equate it with installing a common household appliance. ACCA's quality installation certificates offer HVAC professionals a quick, credible way to communicate their expertise and differentiate their services from cut-rate competition. It takes education, experience, and business owners who build a culture where quality work is expected and respected. Fixing this issue starts with the HVAC industry understanding that true compliance with today's standards goes beyond legal obligations. It's about respecting the process and the quality outcomes it produces. Because codes alone don't create a good HVAC technician, and they certainly don't create a good HVAC system installation either.